Welcome back to the daily stream. This is the Recoup Daily Check-in. Today is Wednesday, April 30th, 2025. I'm Sweets. This is Sid. And today we're going to be covering what we've been shipping. This is the midweek point. So what else we have for the rest of the week. On my side, I did two major shipments. I'll start off with the more fun one. So Sid just helped me get unblocked on an image generator. And so if you go to baseimagegenerator.vercel.app, you will see, what are you doing? Why isn't it? I swear I pushed another version. Oh, well, so here's a version and you can say a based wrapper like DaVinci in the form of Ghibli. And then you can send out an image. It'll generate that image and then give you back the image. This is a prototype that I'm going to be building into a greater tool to integrate with Recoup. Right now, we just got the image generator working. Next, I'm going to use Coinbase's Wallet v2 API in process to automatically store these images on chain. I'm going to add in Privy so that when you log in, every image that's created is attributed to your logged in account. That way we can track the provenance, and then I'll add it in as a tool once the prototype is finished. On top of that, Recoup has been updated to follow all of the new docs. So the docs that I defined for Recoup on Friday and over the weekend, I implemented on Monday. And so now we've got artist socials, artist segments, social posts, social fans, and post comments. The deprecated endpoint still exists for now in case we want to roll back, but we have fully migrated the front end over to that. So if you go to like chat.recoupable.com and you ask a question like, who's my top fan? Before it would take a while, oftentimes error out, and it would try to get all of your fans. And now if you say, who's my top fan, instead of just having monolithic endpoints, which are slow, overwhelm the context window, and don't have any level of precision, we're now giving smaller tools so that the AI can do things like, I'm going to get your segments first, and then after I get your segments, I'll then get your fans. I apologize, accessing fan segment data. We're experiencing technical difficulties retrieving your fan data. Let's report this issue to the team. So we should have just gotten a ping saying that it didn't work. What segments do I have? So maybe there's some bugs with it, but at least we're not getting errors like we were. We're getting 502 errors for some reason hitting the endpoint, so maybe the backend server is down. But in the meantime, we now have a based DaVinci wrapper form of Studio Ghibli. And so my goal is going to be to continue to reduce errors and get this prototype in so that we can directly use this chat to generate images. But for now, if you're watching this, you're seeing first access, and you can jump into the prototype URL I've got up top and play around with it now. That's it for me. Sid, how's it going on your side?
Fucking fire some ship. Awesome ship. On my end, it's going really well. I had two great customer calls, one today, one yesterday, and then I'm following up with the one from yesterday again today. So I'll give you a quick run through. The first one is with Benji from Rostrum. Yesterday I had a call with him, basically showed him Recoup, and he's super excited about this idea of transforming his label into like an AI label. So this seems like more of like a holistic, slow and steady, helping identify things within his organization where we can low lift and start. But what's really fucking awesome is that he created a form that he sent to all of his employees, well, a bunch of his employees, with basically a questionnaire. So let me show you this real quick, which I love the action that he took. So he basically sent a questionnaire to all his staff saying, like, how often do you use AI tools? What tasks do you typically use AI for? Which tools, if any? And basically just understanding like the inner workings of a indie record label, and how much they're using AI tools. So I use Recoup to do an analysis and get like a breakdown, and it's really interesting because it's basically saying that about the company is split into like four like if there's a pie, it's split like pretty equally in four slices. You have 25% to 30% of like high familiarity, and then mid, and then low, and then none. And so, and then if it breaks into like what's the tools they're using, it's mainly ChatGPT. What are the use cases? What's the frequency? Uh, Daily, only 30% of the company uses it daily. And then 30% of the company uses it occasionally. So it's like very broken out equally. Anyways, lots of really great insights for how to integrate AI into a label, who's using it for what, where Recoup can kind of add value. So that was the first great call. I'm meeting with Benji again at 2:00 today to like just recap this survey and kind of talk next steps. The next thing, the next call and great customer insight that I got was with Big Ass Kids, who is another indie label and distributor. And that was with Caroline, who was the first like wow aha moment user that we got, where she said like this tool is amazing. And so I had a second call with her where she brought on her co-founder Leroy, and we just kind of talked through using Recoup, one for their label services side, and then two for like they have a community of independent artists that they don't necessarily sign to their label, but like they help coordinate and connect dots for them. And so she got very specific of how she would use Recoup and why she hasn't been using Recoup over the last 2 weeks since we got that first message. Her reasoning why is because her use case is specifically, or her most obvious use case is to specifically help her with when she's onboarding artists into their platform. What she does is take a 30-minute call with a new artist that they're about to sign, and basically it's like she calls it an onboarding call. And before that onboarding call, she spends an hour doing research on that artist. And she said Recoup would be perfect if it could be her research partner for new artists that she's about to get on a call with, to basically use the strategy document that we came up with. So the reason why she wasn't using Recoup is because her main use case revolves around being able to onboard herself. And when we onboarded her account is just has signed artists that are already in her account, as opposed to like helping with this onboarding. So that was like an aha moment and great kind of like next steps for that is she's ready to basically use Recoup, help her calls, and then push all of those artists that she's onboarding to her platform or to her record label, also to Recoup to sign up and use. So like she's ready, and she's like, just tell me when I can start sending artists to Recoup, and I'll do it. And so that's like a clear path to getting more users and having her actively use the platform more. And then the key blockers there are enabling her to onboard self-service and not need me to like do the manual research and onboard her artists. And so that's like a very clear path to like what we could win in the next week with starting to get more users and more people talking and chatting. So those are my two big updates, and I'm really excited because they were both very validating, where like if I just feel like we're really close to product market fit once we get all of the blockers out of the way. And that is my update.
My goal is to reduce errors below 25%. On your side, has that goal been achieved, or are we still not hitting that goal?
I believe it has been achieved. I have to run the numbers, and I can do that before Friday, but I have seen much less errors on just my use cases and when people are using the app and Telegram errors. I see the occasional error, but it's a lot less.
It sounds like the next, if we agree on Friday that errors are done, the next one is onboarding as the next focus task. Is that accurate, or is there a different way to phrase what the most important thing is once errors are
Correct.
identified? Do you have any more resolution you want to add into onboarding, or keep it broad and not define any specifics until we get to Friday?
Let's wait till Friday. I want you to stay focused. I don't want to overload. Like we're on a path of momentum right now. Like keep going, whatever you got to do.
I forgot to mention, Minikit's also out, so we now have distribution directly inside of the Farcaster feed. Anytime I share the app, it can now be opened and used directly inside of Farcaster.
Oh, you shipped the mini kit.
Minikit's live. I'll share that real quick, what it looks like.
Yeah, bro, we're killing it this week.
Yeah, I've been doing my best to ship. So if you go onto my profile, here's the progression. Here's originally before Minikit. What happens when you share Recoup is you get a link, you click on the link, and then it opens it up in a new tab. Normal, sharing it in a social feed. This was my first attempt to wrap it. Was missing some stuff in the docs, which I've already talked with the Coinbase team to get updated. My second attempt, you can see the difference. We now have a launch Recoup button. And so I just took our normal splash image. We can make whatever image we want, but this took images that we already had. If you click launch, you still can scroll your social feed and then have Recoup open right there while you're scrolling inside of your social feed. And so right now we have disjointed logins. You got to do an additional login instead of using the Farcaster wallet login. I'm not sure if we want to keep it as is or just force everybody to sign in with email. That way we have their email for things like if we want to send 03012103001 in case we want to send 030. Emails, we need their email, and so if they connect it, it gives us that email. But now I'm here and I'm logged in and I can be asking like, who is Einstein? If I'm looking at posts, and now I can have an AI chat open while I'm scrolling in my social feed. And if I ever have questions, I can ask. I could copy and paste directly from the social feed, and this just lets us start to have another direction to distribute the app.
Fuck yeah. I love it. It's awesome job. That's 2 incredible shipments this week.
And so the last stuff that I still have, I need to get image gen. I need to get this app that I was showing. I need to get this out in a deployed state, at least as a prototype with Wallet V2. I need to figure out why those 502 errors were just happening in the demo for the tools. At least the chat's still continuing even with those errors. And I think that's it. I need to just get these last little errors eliminated, get this prototype out the door. And if we're all good on moving to these new endpoints, I'll delete all those older endpoints so that way we don't have deprecated endpoints sitting around. But again, image generation prototype, 502 errors for the tools that have been moved locally, and remove the deprecated API endpoints. Do you have any pushback on me deleting those deprecated API endpoints, or can I go ahead and remove those?
I don't have any pushback until I'm going to have pushback. you know, so if you don't think
there's no pressing reason to delete it, so I'll keep it and I'll just keep throwing the question until you have higher confidence in your yes.
Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Look at that, perfect timing. 2:00. Have a great day, awesome shipping, and I will see you Friday.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe so more people can see how we're building Recoup as an on-chain business in real time and in public. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you on Friday.